Icon is a term that's vastly overused in the automotive world, but in the case of the Volkswagen Golf GTI, it is entirely appropriate. Through 50 years and 8 generations, it's been defining what it means to be a hot hatch. Now for 2025 comes generation 8.5 and some updates that are a lot more than just a cosmetic tickle. So stick with us, we'll go through the changes, take it for a ride and tell you what it's like. If you think the new GTI looks a lot like the old one externally, you're right. Look, there are some changes though. New alloy wheels, new LED headlights, new bumpers, and this light bar with illuminated Volkswagen badge for the first time, but it's what's going on under the bonnet that most people are going to be interested in. 8.5 GTI gets the latest version of the much lauded EA 888 2-litre turbo petrol 4-cylinder engine. Now with that comes a 15 kilowatt bump to 195 kilowatts and a sub 6 second 0 to 100 kilometre time. On top of this stuff, there's some more familiar elements to the new GTI. The 7-speed DSG gearbox is familiar, and of course being a GTI, this car is front wheel drive. The 8.5's also had attention paid to its chassis. Springs are stiffer front and rear, the steering is faster, and the limited slip front diff has been retuned. The whole idea is to make the GTI more aggressive and capable when being driven with enthusiasm, and without sacrificing too much of that legendary everyday usability. Speaking of the everyday, the GTI, like every 8.5 Golf, has had its cockpit overhauled in search of better everyday usability. Now these touches include the return of physical buttons to the steering wheel and illuminated sliders for air conditioning controls and audio with the new infotainment touchscreen. So all this good news on 8.5 updates means there's going to be some cost, right? Yep, there sure is. The new GTI is nearly $3,000 more expensive than the old car, which puts it well over $60,000 by the time you factor in on-road costs. Basically, the GTI's gone up about $10,000 since 2021. Back in 2018, you could get a 3-door GTI manual for under $40,000. Okay, time to find out if the changes to GTI 8.5 justify the price rises, if it really is a better car. And to do so, we've taken it far from freeway speed cameras and other traffic into some mountainous, winding roads. And straight away, it's pretty obvious this is still a familiar part of the GTI history, just evolved and that bit better. The engine's still great, fizzing, sparkling, responsive, just doing it stronger and on a wider range, backed up by that terrific snap, crackle, pop DSG gear shift. But it's even more noticeable that the front end with the suspension changes and the diff change has made the turn in that bit sharper, and the grip is really terrific. But also the car is nimble in corners as well. Can change its line, narrow it or widen it depending on what you find, just like I did there. Really responsively, enthusiastically, and with great involvement. It's a terrific driver's car. A really fun one that doesn't overwhelm with too much power and the urge to just drive too fast. It's just great at the speed it manages, which is plenty fast enough for me. Now the downside though is we've got a tougher ride to deal with. It's noticeable in sport mode. The adaptive dampers wind up to produce a bit more patter. Look, I can live with all that. That's part of a sporting vehicle's ethos, and it's by no means excessive, but what you just maybe sense there is where the GTI has gone a bit too far, and that's potholes, laterals. It really does transmit some shock back into the cabin on the big hits. 19-inch wheels, stiffer suspension, just seems to produce a more violent input into the cabin. Really is a constant reminder of just how rough Australian roads are now. But if a bit of bash and crash is the trade-off for all the great stuff the new GTI delivers in terms of raised driving capability, then I can cope with that. The GTI has always been a smooth and capable mover. The 8.5 injects some extra mongrel. and it's really enjoyable for it. Essentially, this car moves the GTI game on that bit more. It's still an icon, and it's still very much worthy of our respect.